Chapter 42. Ashley saw headlights brightening outside the car window. She heard tires screeching. Donald grasped her wrists in one of his large hands, freeing his other. The approaching vehicle appeared to be accelerating at them. "What the hell?" He fumbled with a gear shifter as the oncoming vehicle's headlights glared brighter. Her heartbeats exploded against her chest. Despite desiring death only moments ago, she was now afraid. Killing yourself was one thing, but it was another to have a complete stranger do it. The control is ripped from you with a stranger. It becomes invasive. Besides, she wanted Laura to do it. This would ensure she was following Laura's plan. If the plan had any merit, Ashley wanted to be a part of it. Donald slammed down on the accelerator so hard that the blades of grass took flight behind them, but the vehicle didn't move forward much. The engine wound down from a roar as he let off the accelerator, allowing her to hear the approaching car's engine. He kept glancing out her window instead of focusing on getting them to safety. "Drive," she pressed. "I'm trying." He released her wrists, using both hands to operate the controls. The SUV slowly began to roll along the front lawn. It seemed just like one of those nightmares where you couldn't move, but the monsters could. Crash! The back end of the Chevy slid to the left along the grass, and Ashley's head smacked her window. Unable to see through closed eyes, her hearing numb, she lost track of everything for what seemed like minutes. With a growing ringing in her ears, her eyes opened, and she could see the SUV moving along the sidewalk. Then felt it bouncing onto the street. She turned her head and saw a red car. Behind them, rear end fishtailing on the front lawn, a gun pointing out the driver's window. "Is that?" asked Donald. He was answered by gunfire, and suddenly the SUV's front end was slipping across the cement like ice, heading to a parked van. Crash! Ashley's head struck the passenger window again, this time shattering the glass into a shower of tiny gummy pieces, and her right shoulder hit the car door, elbow driven into her side, breath bursting from her. When everything should have been quiet, she heard strange whines and screeches from angry birds. She looked over and saw the noise was just Donald attempting to restart the stalled vehicle. The red car launched off the sidewalk, sparks flying from the undercarriage as it bounced along the street, heading directly at them. "Holy shit," he muttered. She held her breath. Her hands rose protectively in front of her. She wanted all this to go away. Hearing the car skidding to a stop, she risked a peek. Out of the red car leapt Laura. Ashley breathed. Then she lunged through the broken passenger window, rounded the SUV, screaming, "Kill me!" Laura raised the gun. As Ashley ran towards her, she saw a dark blob pass from the corner of her vision, then heading at the gun. It landed on the gun and swallowed it, the blob extending onto Laura's fingers, clinging to her as she shook it violently. Ashley yelled back to Donald, "Make it stop!" But he pulled another blob out of his overcoat and wound back like a pitcher, while Laura hurled herself onto the ground. "You'll kill her!" She ran at Donald, trying to tackle him, painfully slamming into his rock-hard stomach, all 105 pounds of her not even jarring the man. He released the black glob and it flew into Laura's open car door, hitting the steering column growing around it. Laura rolled behind the car. Not knowing what else to do, Ashley punched him in the gut, but her wrists bent as they hit, sending sharp pains up her forearms. He didn't even flinch. He circled around the red car along the right as Ashley ran left, yelling for Laura. In the distance, Laura cried, "Here!" Ashley ran towards the voice, several cars down the street. Laura was huddled beside the back of a pickup truck, the dark material now almost to her shoulder. Her face appeared pale and desperate as she trembled. Ashley didn't want this woman to die, but wasn't this supposed to be just a dream? She questioned the reason for Laura being afraid. If death was just a transition to the hospital, Laura shouldn't have anything to fear. As if answering her thoughts, Laura said, "I'm sorry, I failed you." Ashley grabbed at the dark mass, expecting her hands to disappear, but it had substance like gooey gel. She began to peel it off the woman's arm, but not with complete commitment as the recent murders of 3 innocent people flashed through her mind. Then she remembered trusting this woman. Ashley also knew a hospital existed. She had been there. Laura could have been right all along, which meant Tina and Jeff were there. Ashley finished peeling the darkness from Laura's arm, and she swung the mass, attempting to fling it into a car, but it clung to her right hand now. Her breath stopped. Claustrophobia wrapped around her. The darkness expanded up her wrist to her forearm, then to her upper arm. "It's okay, Ashley. It'll only hurt for a moment." Shocked by these words, having difficulty breathing as though a real weight pressed against her, she protested, "I don't want to go like this." "It's okay." "Not like this," she pleaded. "I can't breathe." The woman nodded and raised the gun to Ashley's head. "I'll be right behind you." A tear formed in Laura's eye and dripped onto her cheek, waiting. "Why are you crying?" Laura didn't respond at first. Confusion and indecision broke her face. She wiped her cheek. "I've been here so long, I guess I question whether this is real now." "Don't tell me that. Don't doubt yourself now." Donald was rushing at them from the sidewalk, another glob in his hand. Laura aimed the gun at him and took 2 shots. The second hit the muscular man in the chest, blowing him backwards, sending him to the cement. The gooey mass expanded past Ashley's shoulder to her neck, causing every area it consumed to turn dead cold. "Please hurry," she choked. Laura pointed the gun back to Ashley's head. She felt the world spinning before her. She couldn't believe she was really going to die this time. Her life, at least here, would end. "I'm scared." "You're not going alone. I'll find you there." As the deadly substance trickled down Ashley's chest and climbed her neck to the edge of her chin, she saw the woman's index finger pull back on the trigger. From the depths of the black steel cylinder, she noticed dark orange light being reflected from a street light. A mosquito buzzed between the gun's muzzle and her face, searching for blood. "Promise me you'll come." "I promise, sweetie." Laura closed her eyes, a grimace wrinkling her skin. "I'll be right behind you." Ashley never even heard the explosion.